Hello everybody and welcome! Today I'm going to do a video showcasing the Skeleton King achievement in Skul. This is considered one of the harder achievements where the main goal is to beat the hero with Skul. Now, this is going to be more of a raw commentary style video where I do the run from start to finish with kind of my decision making along the way so that you get a better idea of what I do. I do already have the achievement. I have already done this run, but unfortunately my my original run was corrupted and I lost it. So I'm going to get started on a fresh one here and kind of walk you guys through. The first thing I did there was destroy my 2 skulls. Now, the achievement itself, I need to hammer this home. You don't need to do the entire run as just Skul, right? You are allowed to take another skull, use another skull. You can swap in and use it all you want, okay? All you want. The only thing that you need to make sure you do to get the achievement is only fight the hero with Skul. So go into the hero fight and not swap at all. You can't swap in that fight at all. But for the purposes of this video and showcasing how Skul plays, because I think a big part of it for a lot of people is the idea of, well, how do I fight the hero with just Skul even if I do use another skull the entire time? That's not going to be very easy. So for the purpose of the video, I'm going to only use Skul to kind of show off his capabilities and how, oh my god, this room, this room, and how he actually is pretty damn strong if you get the right items, because that's kind of the secret to Skul, is his items. There is a kind of a checklist of some of the most powerful items that we want to get for him. The first and foremost, the most important core item is the Mage's Necklace, and hopefully we'll get that along the way as soon as I get rid of this atrociously annoying room that does nothing but want me to suffer and be sad and cry. Okay. Magic Bead of Darkness. Let me cover my items really quick. We started with the Explosive Ointment and the standard issue sword, and we've got Magic Bead of Darkness. I'm not taking any other skulls, so bead that has an effect based on when I swap is quite useless. It doesn't really do anything for me. Now, if in your run you're choosing to use another skull or skulls and you don't want to do this as just raw Skul, I strongly recommend taking all the green rooms that you can in the beginning to try and get fragments to power up your second skull to try to make the run a little bit easier. Or, I mean, hopefully you get lucky and find a nice legendary along the way, something to just kind of, you know, take the edge off. But if you are running as just Skul, then that is also a bit of a plus in its own right. Oh my god, I'm getting hit by everything. Because you don't have to take any Skul rooms. And you can, there we go, dash through the projectiles. You can then just focus exclusively on gold and item rooms. So coming into the first shop, I'm not going to take food, I don't need food, we're not that hurt. We do have armor and a bow. I'm going to pick up the bow for that extra crit chance. And this is something I want to cover as well, and that is item re-rolls. Before you re-roll the shop, at least make sure that you have an idea of how much items cost that are being presented, and make sure you're going to have enough gold left after you've re-rolled so that you can buy something if it's there, because there's no point re-rolling if you can't afford what shows up. Unless you're keen on selling stuff, because I could sell my bead and get an extra 422. So I'm going to do a quick re-roll. Ah, see, this is really good. This is really good and useful. Broken Mana Engine and Rake of Fury are going to speed this process along, but I don't know if I can realistically afford both, so I'm going to get Rake of Fury first. So I need 670. You know what? Sell the bead. I don't need the ointment either. I can afford to get rid of the ointment. Look at that. Now we have enough to get the Broken Mana Engine. That's the kind of decision making I'm talking about, is consider what items are going to be more useful than others. And for a lot of the newer players out there, maybe that's not so obvious just yet, but give it time and experiment with what you have, and you'll kind of get an idea of what you like on certain skulls. For me, I like to have a lot of attack speed on Little Skul because, you know, that's half of his game plan, is throwing skulls at people and swinging away. Pre-Skul goes down. Let's come over here and take a look at what we have. We have Skeleton Shield, we have Cobalt, and we have Ring of Wind. Like I said, I'm not worried about the skull side of things, but if you are, then maybe you want to break the skull that's on offer after the Adventurer fight. Otherwise, I'm taking the Ring of Wind because I'm not worried about that. And here we have a Skull room and a Gold room, so I'm going to take the Gold room. realistically, unless I get a room where it's only offering me a skull room, I shouldn't need to have to deal with bone fragments anymore. Maybe I can come to the end of my run with 10 if I get lucky, but maybe not. It's very important if you're going to use Skul himself to get used to his head toss and the trajectory of it, and get used to being able to use it very rapidly up close and personal to your opponent. I don't want to demonstrate on these guys because it's way quicker and easier just to spam my way through them using his basic attack. Look at this. Rake of Fury coming in clutch. But the idea is... Oh. Poison got him. That you want to throw your skull at point-blank range, quickly recapture it, and then throw it a second time, and then just manually, like, grab it afterwards. You may have seen me doing that a bit against the Priest Adventurer fight. There we go. What have we got here? Bottled Embers. Another so-so item. It's not incredible, but it's not exactly bad at the same time. Oh, look, we've got Ryder up there. Ryder would be very nice for helping clear the rooms a bit quicker. There's no point re-rolling. I'm not going to have the income for it, and I mean, I could get rid of Bottled Embers, but yeah, I'm just going to wait and move on. Save my money. We've got plenty of time to get the good items that we need, plenty of time to find the good items that we need, so I'm not too fussed right now. This assassin giving me issues constantly. Break this totem, get some health back, dash through the projectiles. There you go, buddy. I'll demonstrate on this big charger here a bit more. Come over here, dude. So, I want to throw the skull, capture the skull, grab the skull, throw the skull. Right? In quick motions, I'm up against an enemy. Throw, recapture, throw, recapture. Throw, recapture. See? The idea is you want to get as many head tosses off as possible, because Skull's head toss is actually quite damaging. If you ever taken like notice of the actual numbers that it does, it's a pretty strong attack. Let me come and grab this really quick before I forget it exists. Yes. Yes, stand in the way. That's what I want you to do. Ah, Ceremonial Dagger. This is one of the really good ones that we want as well. Ceremonial Dagger has seen changes. I won't go over the changes too much. If you're familiar with early access, you'll know that a lot of the items have been slightly changed. But Ceremonial Dagger, 5% crit. That's basically rivaling the bow at this point. It's really good crit just for an item on its own. Let alone that critical attacks will increase your magic attack by 55% for 3 seconds. So we now have a stacked up 11% bonus crit from these two items, and our magic attack will get boosted, which increases our skull toss damage, which means that we're going to do a lot more big damage to boss fights. Going back over the broken mana engine that we grabbed in the shop before, it increases skill cooldown speed by 30%. Now, the wording on some of the cooldown items can be a bit back to front or a bit confusing, but this is basically implying that our cooldowns are 30% faster. And for Skul, the cooldown on his Skull Toss is quite important for the final build of this run. If we're looking to get Mage's Necklace and maybe even Mana Bone, which is kind of like the secondary item that you really want to get. But mostly Mage's Necklace. Alright, Yggdrasil. I like to spam as many Skull Tosses on Yggdrasil as possible, which means grabbing my head and hoping that my head doesn't fly too far away, you know? Like, if I can stay kind of under his chin as much as possible, it just makes things a bit smoother. All of these little purple cogs, by the way, are the Mana Tech inscription. Hang on, let me do some dodges there, buddy. Whenever I do a skill, like my head toss or my teleport to my head, it's throwing out these cogs, and what they do is, when you pick them up, it sharply reduces the cooldown of your abilities. So if I throw my head away, and then I grab them, the cooldown resets, see? It resets the cooldown really quickly, actually, because I got a lot of them on the ground. Our reward, Bone Hourglass, look at this. Another item that affects swapping, something I'm not going to be doing because I don't intend to take another skull other than Little Skull himself. And here we are. If you were using a second skull, maybe you could get an upgrade here. Maybe. Hopefully. Lucky. Coming into Act 2. Not too much different from Act 1. Mainly the enemies are just a little bit more tedious. Especially these maids. Dealing with them for a long time now. Oh, that other maid must have died from poison. It's a part of my Act 2 guide that I've mentioned that you should leave at least one of the small summoned maids alive. Just as a tip, because the large maid will not summon a new set of maids. She'll always summon 2 blondes and a redhead. And if you leave one of those 3 summoned maids, doesn't matter which one, but if you leave one alive, she won't resummon. She only resummons if they all die. So, it's kind of a wise idea to just leave one alive and not trigger it. That way you don't have to deal with it at all. Another little fun fact, because the room is offering me this opportunity, is certain enemy spawns. If I go into that room, a maid will spawn at the entrance to it and make this room a little bit longer and a little bit trickier. But if you never actually trigger some enemies into spawning, you don't have to fight them. It's as simple as that. You just won't have to fight them. So if I sit here and I deal with Mr. Big Shot here and I kill him, now that the reward for the room has spawned and I've collected it, the maid won't spawn. The room is done. It triggers that the room is finished. So just a little mini tip for you right there. Pick your battles wisely. You don't have to fight everything. At the same time, it's not a bad idea to kill extra enemies for some gold or some quartz if you're looking to continue progressing. But you don't have to always do that. Now, in the shop, we've got ointment. Diorite circlet is quite powerful, but we do not have a quintessence right yet. And honestly, 1500 for an item that synergizes under the prerequisite that I have a quintessence? Nah, not for me right now. Priestess's Veil is another pretty good item, I'm not gonna lie. You could grab it, but seeing as how the core item for the build, the Mage's Necklace, is not in our possession, I'm doing a reroll here to see if I can find it. Sadly, no. If I do another reroll, I'll be just barely at the point where I could make a purchase, but I might just sell off the Hourglass and Bold Embers if I get the opportunity. Unfortunately, no. Still no Mage's Necklace, but that's okay, you know? We can go a decent chunk into Act 2 and even 3 without Mage's Necklace. It's just going to make the run a little bit slower. If you're less confident, like I said, with dealing with the bosses leading up to the hero, by all means, use that other skull. It's kind of, in saying that, it's kind of important to build the little skull build just for the hero fight. So, I mean, we kind of have until the hero fight to get the Mage's Necklace and to get some of these other core items that we want for the build. Grab the item room. So we don't have to panic, okay? Don't panic, don't panic, we're okay. Don't panic. Die. Swamp can be quite useful for helping Little Skull as well. Swamp and poison abilities. I forget which item I have has the swamp inscription on it. I'll take a look in a second. But when a poisoned enemy dies, thanks to the swamp inscription, they explode, and that's those green explosions you're seeing. And it does damage to other enemies nearby. There we go, Rake of Fury has swamp on it. It does damage to enemies nearby, and I think spreads the poison as well. Pretty useful for clearing rooms. Not so useful for bosses because they can't be afflicted by status impairments, but pretty good. Dark Spirit Shade, fantastic. The best of the spirits. The strongest of the spirits. So Shade is going to do a lot of magic damage, as well as Shade has the Necromancy inscription, which is amazing for dealing with rooms. Coming into the second adventurer fight, Ninja and Sword. I'm often an advocate for picking and choosing which adventurers you want to deal with first. Normally, I probably would pick the Ninja first to get rid of, but he's going to be a pain, I can tell, because the Sword likes to move around a lot and throw the homing orbs, and the homing orbs are more annoying to me than the Ninja's skills. Do some up-close skull tosses, interrupt that big cast. Well, that was a big health orb, I didn't need to grab that just yet, but we did. Didn't expect that. Skull toss, grab the skull again, skull toss, grab the skull again, do it again, grab it. Try and avoid this Ninja attack. I know Ninja can be hard to deal with. and some of you might think that he's impossible. He is possible, it's just, it's tricky, it's not super easy. It'll take practice. If you're still not confident with some of the fights, the bosses, the adventurers, even the NPCs, sorry, not the NPCs, the regular enemies, don't worry, practice, practice, practice. We have explosive ointment. I wouldn't mind holding on to bottled embers just because it's okay. Actually, explosive ointment has swamp on it, and I can double stack my swamp, so we'll get rid of the bottled embers rather, for explosive ointment. And now we have a double on swamp, just to make it that little bit stronger, help clear through the rooms a little bit quicker. Moving our way through into the second half of Act 2. Oh, the big descent. Oh no! Big drops. Oh, the first healer died. Thank you, Shade. Shade nuking that guy. Oh, the big double charges. Just always dash through them. It's exactly the same as the charges in Act 1, just with the added range on his hammer slam attack. A lot of the enemies in Act 1 and 2 can be kind of thwarted just by dashing past them. And of course, deal with the healers first. Ah, these guys, look at them all charging. I'd like to bundle them all up together into a small group, but no, they're going to stay at a distance from me, aren't they? If you are having issues with any of the regular enemies in these acts, I have a set of guide videos that kind of cover the enemies, because the basic enemies in Acts 1, 2, and 3 haven't really changed much at all in the way they behave. And in those guide videos, especially like Part 2, covers the enemies more, 2 and 3. I didn't really cover the enemies in Part 1 because they're kind of... Act 1's enemies are pretty basic. They don't do too many crazy things, except Big Tree Dude, but Big Tree Dude's not that bad. But yes, check those out if you want some help, some tips, some advice on dealing with some of the more nightmarish enemies like the maids. I know the maids have always been a fan favorite problem, giving people grief for a long time now. Yes, die all of you. Speaking of, hello Miss Maid. Nice. Are you gonna die from poison up there? Oh no. The necromancy is gonna take you out. Thank you, necromancy. Excellent. Grab the money, next shop. Okay, another opportunity to grab our mage's necklace. Warrior's pauldrons. Okay. Warrior's pauldrons is one of the best defensive items in the game. Every 20 seconds, you get a wall, just a straight-up shield wall in front of you. It nullifies anything that comes from the front. In addition, the heart and fortress inscriptions that are on it. Heart gives you more health, and fortress has a small bubble dome shield effect that goes over you. These are all really good, and since Bone Hourglass is basically useless for my run because I'm not swapping, I mean, I'm going to grab it and get rid of that Bone Hourglass. So now we have a small damage absorption shield. It does stack up the more of this inscription that you get, but Fortress on its own will block 10 damage for me, and the pauldrons will block all frontal damage, which is very helpful. What's not helpful is not getting Mage's Necklace. I can try once more? Oh, okay, we got something better instead. Well, not better, but we've got a nice consolation prize in Thief Armor. Thief Armor is pretty nice to grab. What am I going to get rid of for it, though? Decisions. I'm going to get rid of the standard issue sword. It is 20% physical attack lost, but I'd rather keep my critical chance to synergize with my Ceremonial Dagger for increasing my head toss damage, right? So we're going to get rid of the sword and pick up Thief Armor. The idea with Thief Armor is whenever you attack, it fires little shurikens, and whenever you land a critical with an attack, I don't know if it's gonna be nice to me here. There we go, that large shuriken. Whenever you land a crit, it fires out a giant shuriken that actually pierces. It will travel through enemies, unlike the little ones that just hit the first enemy and stop there. And this, what it's gonna do is speed up our DPS by quite a bit, because with the help of Rake of Fury, which increases our attack speed after we kill an enemy, in addition to Swamp killing enemies quickly, and now we have Necromancy. We've got some good synergy going here with killing enemies and getting big payoffs, you know? Necromancy, Swamp, We've got a lot of effects that are going to carry over and kill enemies passively, which is a big help for Little Skull, so that he doesn't have to stay in the fight and get hurt, potentially. We can kind of dash in, do a bunch of damage, and then run away and let the extra effects take care of the rest. I want to break this up here. I don't need the healing, but I also don't want the enemies to get the healing, because the totems are going to heal them. And I'd rather that the totems did not heal them, and helped me instead. A lot of dashing, a lot of back and forth dashing. You want to get used to not sitting in the same place for too long, I would say, is a very basic tip if the enemies can be unpredictable. Oh, that guy just died. The guy inside at the end waiting for me did not survive long enough to be an issue. Yeah, so if you've got enemies that have hyper armor, or enemies that just don't care about your attacks, like the large charges, just don't sit still too long. If enemies have a habit of hyper armoring, like that guy just did, don't sit still too long. Get in the habit of do some smacking, some skull tossing, dash dash, get out of the way, dash dash, get out of the way. Just be moving, be moving. Unless unless you're up against enemies that you know you can quite handedly deal with without needing to move around too much, like all the little basic enemies. You can be pretty slack with them, right? You can just mash square, mash X, whatever button it is that you've got set to your basic attack, mash away at it. We've got the sisters fight, alright? Bear in mind, all of these fights would be a lot quicker if I had Mage's Necklace and or Mana Bone, but it doesn't matter. This just gives me an opportunity to show off the sisters fight with Skull a little more. You don't have to worry about doing lots of damage to the sisters in the first part where they're both attacking you. I mostly wait and pick my battles, you know. I'm waiting for this. There we go. The sister in the back is up on the balcony. As soon as you see that one sister land on the balcony, you know that the one that's going to be tagging in is going to drop down from the sky and stay in. Now, you can dash away from that attack, or you can actually dash through it. And if I get a chance to show you, which I may not, shoutouts to my Act 2 guide where I cover this fight in better detail. So yeah, in the middle, it's a game of jump rope when they do that attack. You want to jump up and bait the first one to go over your head, land, and then jump again. It's just a lot of jumping and dashing, you know, and keeping an eye on where the enemies are. Now, this isn't the right sister. This is the other sister, but we can weaken the other one. It's okay. There we go. Nice little game of jump rope. Oh, I forgot to dash through it. I was going to show that. Habits die hard. There we go. Hello, sister. Enter your dark phase. I'm going to sit about here, dash to the first cut, and use his teleport. Oh, dash away from that. You can walk away from this. Come back and smack her a bit before she decides to do another attack. Oh. Oh, that was much quicker than I expected, lady. That's okay. No. This is where our shield comes in handy. Because even though we got hit, we haven't lost any life yet. Shield is being very helpful. If you're attentive, which I'm not always that attentive, you can actually keep an eye on Warrior's Pauldrons. And did that actually still... Nah, my shield's still there. I was gonna say, the cutscene, she died, and then that wave hit me afterwards. If you're attentive on Warrior's Pauldrons, you can actually see when it shows up, and then dedicate yourself, and it's like, right, I've got 5 seconds of... It did take some damage off that shield, wow. I've got 5 seconds of opportunity to... another swap item. I can't believe this game is giving me more swap-based items. I'm just gonna sell it now and get the 800 gold. Right, sorry, train of thought even. You can decide, I've got 5 seconds of shield in front of me, I'm just gonna sit here and tank the blows. But it can be risky, and you have to be aware of how much time your shield is available for. Another wave room. Let me come up here and get rid of the annoying potion throwers, and then just spam our way through these guys. I don't have to worry about skull tosses. Skull toss only hits one enemy anyway, whereas this basic attack will hit everyone in its way. Thanks to necromancy and a little bit of help from swamp, these enemies blow up and die a lot faster. Now, I'm not a big advocate for swamp, don't get the wrong idea. Swamp is fun, useful for a lot of things. It just so happens that we have swamp, but otherwise, I wouldn't be relying on it necessarily. But it is okay. It's not bad. Right, Carleon Insignia. Do we have any Carleon items left? We have the bow left. So, just looking at my inscriptions, I'll still have one in Swamp if I get rid of the explosive ointment. But the Insignia is going to help us with gold. And it might be that we need all the cash we can get to actually grab some of these more important items when they start showing up in the shop. So the Insignia will give you 30 gold every time you go into a new area. Stacking with every Carleon item that you have, the other items besides the Insignia, because it counts for itself, being the standard issue Carleon bow, the Carleon sword, and the Carleon armor. 4 in total. So we'll get 60 coming into this room. Very useful to get early on. It's one of my favorite starting items when I start a run. I like having at least the Insignia, and then I'll usually pluck out the rest of the Carleon items in the shops if I have the chance. Just to increase economy, you know? I want to have lots of money to be able to afford items, both whether or not I'm doing a upgrade style run or not, because, I mean, you're going to want money either way. Gold is pretty universal. If you're doing a Skull upgrade run and you want to take a lot of bone fragments, then you're going to naturally be making less money, right? So this is a nice way to help with that. Or if you're just doing an item run, the more money the merrier, right? So I haven't said much about Act 3, but we are in Act 3, the Land of Explosions. Can I cheese my way up there using Skull's Skull Toss? Doesn't look like I can. Maybe if I do something very cheeky over here. There we go. I just want to get rid of that Alchemist without having to take the long way. Lazy route. There should be some more that spawn, or are we all done with those? Nah, we're done with those. I couldn't tell if my Necromancy killed the rest while I was focusing on the Alchemist upstairs. What have we got? Coward's Cape? Coward's Cape is alright. If you want to take it, you can take it, but I'm not too fussed on it. I'm not worried about my dashing as much. Now, can I prevent the Golem being summoned while I've got all these other enemies attacking me? Maybe not? Oh no, we did it. Risky. I've said before in my Act 3 guide, you don't have to stop the summon. You can actually let the Golem be summoned. The Golem itself is not a mandatory enemy that you have to kill. You can actually leave it alive, and if you kill everything else in the room that does have to die, you can just leave afterwards. If we find another Golem in Act 3, another Summoner's portal rather, I'll let them summon it and kind of show that off. Ooh. In the shop we have Sylphid Wings. Excellent for mobility. Excellent for mobility. If you're a fan of moving and dodging, you know, schmoovin' and groovin' the way that I am, I love this item. I used to sell it a lot because I focused on meme builds where I do a lot of damage, but in reality it's a very good item. And Piercing Wind as an inscription, just extra damage, you know, just extra damage. So I can kind of afford to get rid of Ring of Wind here. I used to meme on Ring of Wind a lot and say that, you know, it's like, oh, it's trash. It's not. It's actually pretty damn good, to be honest. But the 15% attack speed is nice, but just glancing over all the other items we've got, it is one of the weaker links, so I'm quite happy to grab Sylphid Wings and replace Ring of Wind. I'm also considering that maybe I'll take Centaurus, just to have a quintessence, but in the back of my mind, we've got the Act 3 Adventurer fight coming up, and Centaurus being a rather strong bleed will be handy. The Act 3 Adventurer fight for a lot of people is still a problem, understandably. And we don't want it to be any harder than it has to be. Doing a quick reroll, Master Fighter, one of the best boss-killing items in the game, increases physical and magical attack by 70% if there are 2 or less enemies around you. Now, every single boss fight in the game, save 2, the Camaro, and Act 4's boss fight, St. Joan, when she summons those extra little dudes that sit around. Every single boss in the game besides those 2, this will work on constantly, right? Constantly. And with the Camaro fight, it's only when he summons the minions that this turns off, and those minions die very quickly. So this really is an amazing item for boss killing, and considering that the purpose of the video is to kill the hero, this is only going to help us with that big 70% physical and magical boost on the hero. So looking over my items once again, we have to start playing hardball here. We have to start making some decisions. Break of Fury, good for rooms, cooldowns, extra damage, extra damage, extra damage, defense and utility, and then we have money and crit. Now, if I keep the insignia on its own, I'll still make some cash, so I'm gonna sacrifice the 6% crit. I think sacrificing crit for a big, whopping 70% damage increase is pretty justified, right? It's pretty justified. So let's keep going. Ah, here we go. Another room that's doing summons. In fact, it's a double. There's another set of summoners upstairs. So I'm gonna leave these guys to finish their job and just not care in the least. I'm gonna focus on killing the other enemies in the room. I'm gonna come up here and get rid of this guy. Now, be mindful that any golems that are spawned are still gonna try and summon these crystals on you, but as you can see, when the summoners died and they finished their summon, that's it. The gold showed up and I can leave. I'm done. I don't have to deal with it. Just an idea if you don't want to fight the big golem guy. If you do fight him and kill him, though, you will get some money. Not like, you know, tons of money. You'll get some cash and some quartz, etc. But then again, killing the actual summoners is just as good for getting some extra resources. What have I missed? Someone's back here that I did not finish off. Of course. There's always one, right? It kind of comes down to risk versus reward, right? You can kill the summoners and stop the golems from coming out, but you might get hit a bunch by extra enemies. It's up to you and how confident you are and what's in the area. Act 3 Adify. It's kind of an annoying lineup. I'm not gonna lie, the sword and ninja. If I stand here and throw Centaurus, I clipped 2 of them. The ninja teleported before he had a chance to get hit by Centaurus and get that nice bleed on him, but doesn't matter. A lot of moving and picking my battles. Basically, I'm being opportunistic. Waiting. He's gonna go up there and do that. This guy's over here drinking, but I was a bit late because I was dodging the ninja. Staying away. Oh, don't want to be there near that. That's an explosion. Against the ninja, I find that for me, being in the air is often safer. Oh, last minute dash right there. Than being on the ground. Especially with these particular enemies. You've got the big paladin doing a ground stomp. You've got the ninja throwing his big boy shuriken. Mostly the only threat in the air for me right now is the ninja's airborne shurikens right there. And the sword guys, oh, can I stop it? I can. I threw my Centaurus at him to get that extra damage. And the sword boy's magic orb. Divide and conquer, divide and conquer. This guy's weak, we want to kill this guy. Wait, oh yep, the ninja's on the other side of the room. I can sit here safely, since his shuriken will not reach me. Dodge that. There you go, buddy, have that Centaurus. He's at half health, he's going to teleport to the middle. Try and burn him down. Keep an eye on what clones are coming out. There's a lot of airborne clones. There we go. It can be a mess. It doesn't always go that smooth, it depends on what people show up. Haha. And whether or not the priest girl is there. The priest girl is the one NPC that turns that fight into a completely different event. If she shows up, you need to focus her down immediately, and that often means throwing yourself into compromised positions. It can get pretty nutty. But over here at the reward section, Mage's Necklace. Here we go. The linchpin, the most important thing for the build, has finally revealed itself to us. It's taken a little while, but like I said, as long as we got it before the end of the run, that's all that matters. Replace the Carlane insignia. I'm not too worried about money right now, plus, realistically, everything else is very useful for actual combat, you know, surviving. Let's move on. So, the reason why Mage's Necklace is insanely good for Skul, and is, in my opinion, his best item. We've already covered that his Skull Toss and the way that you want to use it, right? So the idea is, every time you use an ability, like Skull Toss or Skull Retreat, you know, Retreat, that's called Skull Retreat, Rebone, you know, Skull Retrieval when you grab it. Every time you use a skill, it summons one of these fireball spouting little orb thingies in the sky. And the idea with Little Bone is, he can actually throw a lot of these skills out really quickly when he's up close and is able to grab his skull. so you can kind of get the idea that he's spawning a lot of these damaging fireballs on the screen that do a lot of damage. Ooh, I have Sylphid Wings. I can come up here and get rid of that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So now that I have it, my strategy has kind of changed into run up onto enemies, throw a bunch of bones, and then kind of let the problem resolve itself. I'm going to get up here and avoid that charge. The big golem guy always charges. And everything died. Not the best example of Mage's Necklace, was it? Let's destroy that. I don't need that spirit. I want to try and avoid getting Oberon for this run, if at all possible, because in my first Skeleton King run, I got Oberon, and I feel as though that might have taken away from what I was trying to explain, and people would think, oh, well, just get Oberon. He makes every run a lot easier. And while that's true, that means I do want to not use him and give you a more raw little bone experience. So as long as I'm up close to an enemy, I can throw my head, grab my head, and then as long as it didn't fly off into the nowheres, I can grab it again and go again, you know? Hunter's Wooden Longbow, pretty good item. Pretty good item. It increases our critical damage by 50%, so it increases the actual damage of the crits themselves. However, having said that, I don't really want to get rid of anything just now for Hunter's Wooden Longbow, so I'll sell it off. There are other items on my priority list that I want to get, but I'm keeping that in mind and trying to reserve room. Elemental's Blessing, we could have had a decent shot at getting an Oberon run at this point. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case for us. Doing a reroll, Diorite Circlet has presented itself to us again, and now that we do have a Quintessence, it's not a bad idea to grab it for that extra magic damage. Out of everything that we have, now that we have Mage's Necklace, right? Mage's Necklace is the bulk of our damage. Rake of Fury was previously there so that when we kill an enemy, we get that big 55% attack speed boost on top of Swamp. A little bit of madness. Not bad, very good, but now that we've got Mage's Necklace, it's done its job. I can say goodbye to it. I'm not too worried about it anymore. I have Sylphid Wings, so I can kind of cheese my way up here and just come straight up to the top. Little tip, if you are using Skul and don't have Sylphid Wings, excuse me, Mr. Ghost, his Skull Toss. There you go. When it hits a wall, it can sometimes spring up into the air, and if you collect the skull at the right moment, it gives you a lot of vertical leverage, a bit of vertical leap, Mr. Golem, excuse me. And because I didn't go downstairs, those enemies at the bottom didn't spawn, so I don't have to deal with them. It's just not something I have to deal with anymore. I can leave the room and have dealt with it a little bit easier. Oh, hello. Get up here and throw some skulls, get those fireballs spawned. Skull toss, avoid this guy. Dodge and weave, dodge and weave. Skull toss, spawn those fireballs. Skull toss. Toss the skull, grab the skull. You want to use both, because the fireballs spawn from both skills being used. Throwing it and retrieving it really quickly. There's two right there. Throw, retrieve, there's two more right there. Throw, retrieve, two more. Look at that. Look at that, look at that. Lots of fireballs. That's what we want for this run. We want to have a lot of fireballs on the screen, a lot of projectile damage, a lot of magic damage. Because by the time we get up to the hero, like, spoiler alert, sitting there in his face and hitting him with the club is not always the best idea. Camaro Fight. Oh, Camaro Fight. I've done Camaro Fight an awful lot in my day. First thing that the Camaro always does is summon these little ads. Camaro's own attacks can and will kill them though, so whether or not you choose to deal with them manually is up to you. If you're able to quickly turn around and one-shot them or, you know, get rid of them with minimal effort, go for it. And as you can see here, the real power of this skull spam, dash through the poison, invincible, you can sit in front of its face, dash as it does the slam, avoid all of this extra damage, dash to avoid the poison, a lot of dashing. This is the kind of boss that's going to test your ability to dash through damage and through abilities when he does it. Very quick fight. Very quick fight. That's the power of Mage's Necklace. sitting up in its face, throw the head, grab the head again, throw the head, throw the head, throw the head. All of the mana tech bits and pieces that are spawning up close to the Chimera's head, whenever I touch the ground again, it's kind of resetting my my cooldowns by landing in the little parts that I spawn from it. Very useful. If I manage to get infinite bone though, which is better than mana tech in my opinion, if I get infinite bone, it will only be a damage increase. I see it as a DPS increase, thanks to resetting my cooldowns. Now, the new act, Act 4. Oh, he wants to throw that spear at me. Nope. I'm picking and choosing my battles. I can, you know, I can come in, get some damage on, and move. Oh, this room. This particular room is a nightmare. I'm sorry to anyone who has lost their lives in this room. But it is a bit of a pain. I'm trying to keep an eye on the guy upstairs. Lots of fireballs. Fantastic. I dodged a little bit too early, actually, right there. Yes, the idea is just get lots of damage, lots of fireballs out and kill these guys quicker than they can kill me, in a lot of cases, and use that Warrior's Pauldrons to good effect. If you don't have Warrior's Pauldrons, it's okay, but it is very helpful, very handy-dandy. Typically, after I do my skull, my head toss, and my retrieval, I will cancel into a dash, just in case, while I was throwing my skull, some enemies were sizing up to throw an attack at me, like these little guys right here. There isn't a lot of ending lag, a lot of delay at the end of Skull's abilities, but there's just barely enough that it might be an issue. Because this Skull Toss, like I said, only hits one enemy. Dash past him. All the ones behind. Like, if I throw my skull, I'm only going to hit the dude standing directly in front of me. All the other, like, 20,000 dudes standing behind are still trying to take a swing at me, and I don't want them to hit me. If that many guys hit you all at once, ooh, that's gonna hurt. Use my, you cheeky boy. I didn't even see him starting that attack. Using my Centaurus, the nice horizontal damage that it offers me. Ritual Staff, this is another key component. Well, I wouldn't say key. Mage's Necklace is the most important, but Ritual Staff increases magic attack by 50% and increases skill cooldown speed of balanced skulls by 45%. We are a balanced skull. So this, much like the mana engine, reducing our cooldowns by quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, quite a bit. Now, we have to start making some tough decisions because we have a lot of... all these items are the shortlist. These are the items we want to keep, but we're getting newer items that are slight improvements on other things. For example, I think I might get rid of Diorite's Circlet because I could get rid of Thief Armor as well, to be fair. Yes, okay. I'm thinking of, like, fun builds towards the end, like getting Explosive Arrow and having Explosive Arrow synergize with Thief Armor. But the odds of me seeing Explosive Arrow, I'd rather go for consistency, right? Especially for this achievement run. So I'll get rid of Thief Armor instead, because Diorite Circlet is a magic damage boost, and as you know, the fireballs that we summon, those are magic damage. The Skull Toss itself, that's magic damage. My little Spirit Shade is magic damage. You kind of get the idea. There's a lot of magic going on right now. Let's head into this shop. What do we have? If it showed me Explosive Arrow right there, I would have lost my mind. Assassin Dagger, very good, not what I'm after. Manatech Circulator, also very good. Extra Manatech and Tactics, both very good inscriptions. Using skills decreases all skill cooldowns by 1 second every 4 seconds. So I could try and squeeze that in, but given how much it costs and the fact that I want to re-roll and try and find other items, for example, Mage's Mana Bracelet, which I see as being better than the Circulator, we'll take this instead. And I think I'm at the point now where I'm going to have to start getting rid of the really nice things that I would rather not get rid of. Alright, so in my mind, I'm thinking about the hero fight, okay? That's the idea, the hero fight. Master Fighter will help against the hero. Diorite Circlet is okay against the hero. Mana Engine, good for the hero fight. Dagger, good for the hero fight. Ritual Staff, good for the hero fight, and everything else. That's a bonus, right? If it helps with the rest of the run, that's good. Dark Spirit Shade, the Necromancy, good for the run. The Shade itself does good damage, passive damage. Linchpin, can't touch this. Sylphid Wings, very useful. Warrior's Pauldrons, very useful. Warrior's Pauldrons is going to help a lot more, I think, in the actual hero fight than Sylphid Wings. I'm gonna get rid of the wings. Some of you out there might be thinking, yo, that's insane. But the thing is, Skul doesn't always need Sylphid Wings to be able to stay airborne, as you can see. As you can see. The nature of his Skull Toss, now that we've got a lot of cooldown reduction, he's turning into the true spammy boy that we know and love and want. We want spammy boy. Hello, spammy boy. Let's do some... How dare you? I thought I was out of the range of that. How dare you, sir? Do some dashing. There we go. Do some dashing. Oh, this NPC that changes the cooldowns of your attacks, changes the loadout of your attacks, the cooldown. Good lord. Don't do it with Skul. It does nothing, as you would expect. Skul only has 2 attacks. You can't get anything else. I'm not going to demonstrate it now, just take my word for it. Just take my word for it. Grab the gold. Another gold room. Please be a much kinder room. Oh, this one's not too bad. Yeah, I figures I got bopped there. Okay, so don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't be greedy. What you can do instead, come up here and bully the gate. Use your environment, you know? Use your environment. I have the ability to kind of stay airborne and be very cheesy and summon a lot of Mage's Necklaces, except they're a little bit too high in the sky. I need to do that a bit lower to the ground. There we go. Some of these ranged attacks from the candle guys are clipping me. Where is he? Over there? I want to get rid of this guy ASAP. There we go. There we go. Whoa, I teleported as I threw my Centaurus. I didn't think that I was going to end up all the way over there and totally waste that Centaurus usage, but it's okay. Gold, next room. Throw my Centaurus through these guys. Bleed out. No. I don't want you doing anything, dude. I don't want you doing anything. I can just sit here and summon fireballs on this thing. I don't need to engage it. I can sit here and do this. It is like, really good to know that the Mage's Necklace is still Skull's best friend. It was like this in early access, and I'm so glad that it didn't get, like, nerfed into oblivion, because it is a rather strong item, all things considered. No. Hello, sword guy. Mage's Necklace will take care of him. Fantastic. Item room. Give me a Mana Bone, please. Basic enemies, I can kind of just spam basic attack on them. Although, I can also throw my Centaurus through and bleed the big lady before she summons more enemies. She's kind of like the maid of Act 4, right? From the maids from Act 2 that summoned the little plates and broom swinging maids. She's kind of like the new and improved version of those, much to everyone's horror, because the idea of having even more tall women who summon enemies is a scary idea. It's a scary idea. Tall summoning women. Of course I was not done. It's Act 4. There's more enemies here than the first 3 acts put together. Silly me. What's our item? Another spirit? Yeah. You know what? If you have a chance to get Oberon for this, get Oberon, okay? I could have had an Oberon by now, but I'm choosing not to. I'll take Shade instead. What adventurer do we have? The Archer. Oh, I hate the Archer fight. The Archer is so annoying. Because she's smart, you know? I don't like the fact that she's smart. I thought I went behind her, but I most definitely did not. abuse my warrior's pauldrons for a second. I can see that it's active. Okay, now I'm getting out of the way. Yeah, she's summoning arrows on my head, you saw I tried to do a dash at the end there and escape all the damage. Instead, I landed straight in it and copped a bonk on the noggin. There we go. I think the pauldron saved me more there, which is annoying, but still. Oh, that attack is hard to avoid. If you can't avoid it that well either, I don't blame you. Right. I need to get over to her and stop sitting over in the corner waiting for her to do easy attacks. Finish her off. Took a fair chunk of damage there. I didn't play that too smart. I was kind of relying on Mage's Necklace, but please do. If you get the chance, play it smarter than I just did. Play it smarter than I just did. Otherwise, yes, just work your way through. Now, we have Imp. Cooldown speed increased by 55%. It actually means that our cooldowns go even faster. So what we could have here is Broken Mana Engine with its 30%, Ritual Staff with its 45%, and now Imp with its 55%. And this is also a good chance to get rid of Centaurus because it is a physical damage based quintessence, and Imp is a magic damage quintessence. So we are swapping out for a more appropriate quintessence that suits our preferred damage option at this point. And like I said, be careful about picking and choosing your skull tosses. We want Mage's Necklace fireballs, but not at the expense of getting hit. So pick and choose your battles wisely, young one. Summon the Imp there, throw some stuff, get away from that. No. Fireballs, fireballs, he's dead. Now more spawn, yes? I think more should spawn there, or did I get rid of them all already? Okay, I guess we're just done there. I'm used to there being another whole, like, second wave of enemies. Alright, I can get a lot of fireballs going for this statue. Waiting for that guy to do an attack. The archer guy, that is. If you're waiting to do something, like, you know, throw your head, get some fireballs going, and there's enemies on the screen that are kind of spooky, wait for them to do something and then get them in their downtime. Because they won't go straight into another attack immediately. I want to get rid of this archer. Yo, can you... Yeah, bully you in the corner. You can't retreat from that, can you? Just wait for an enemy to do something, and they always... Almost all of them will have some sort of delay before they can act again. Ooh, that was a tight little dash, wasn't it? Summon Imp. Destroy everything. Ah. Poor guy. Whoops. When your cooldown starts getting very small on your skull toss, it can be hard to control. Take your time with it. Take your time with it. There we go. As you can see, fireball spam saves the day again. I'm going to break this NPC out because I like that NPC and I'd like it to be free. Ah, this room. This room's annoying because of the assassin dude who wants to poke us in the backside. But as long as I'm moving, you know, moving-ish moving, don't stay still for too long. And stay airborne if you have a chance, especially against this big sword-wielding dude downstairs who's now going to die thanks to Mage's Necklace. There we go. Now, did our thing... It did, good. It finally opened up. Of course, he got in the way of my Imp. I was waiting for Imp to get rid of this thing for me, but instead he got in the way. No, 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 no. Stop. Stop, buddy. Stop. Bully you in the corner. Hello, big man. Have you heard the good word? The good word of Mage's Necklace. And he's dead. And he's dead. There we go. Manatech Dagger, also not a bad item, but not one that I want to take just now. I'm kind of holding out for Mana Bone at this point as being like one of, if not the last major item that I need. Little curse-throwing dude getting in my face. And of course that tentacle bopped me. I'm staring at it dead in the face and I'm like, nah, I don't care about the tentacle. And then of course gets me. Because I'm stupid. Oh, yo. Shoutouts to Twitch followers while I'm doing the video. I'm not live right now, but, you know, my alerts apparently want to tell me that I gotta follow. Anyway, this NPC we're going to rescue and we're going to talk to. Increase attack speed, fantastic. I must be getting close to a shop at this point, right? Surely. Surely. Oh, hello, statue. Don't do that. Don't do that. Testing my, my delayed reaction times. How dare you? Yes. Yes. All of the fireballs. All of the fireballs. Deal with it. Deal with it. Can you deal with it? Can you deal with it? No. The answer is they cannot. The answer is they cannot. No. Annoying people that they are. Summon my imp right there. Yes, imp destroyed it. Imp does a lot of damage. Don't sleep on imp's damage, okay? Ah, extra guys up here. Hello, extra guys up here. Let me just deal with you very quickly. We have imp again. Throw imp out. Jump that. Oh, oh, oh. Candle dudes, candle dudes, candle dudes. Schmoovin' and moving, schmoovin' and moving. There you go. Grab the gold. Come into the shop. We've lost a chunk of life. Let's grab some of this Carleon burger. 35% HP and increases crit by 10% for 2 maps. Fantastic. I like the sound of that. Now, quintessence on offer is not amazing. That's Wraith, yes? Yeah, no, I prefer imp at the moment. We have gold. Let's do some rerolls. Aha! Infinite bone. Fantastic. All things considered, we actually do have a lot of cooldown reduction as it is, thanks to Mage's Mana Bracelet, which I didn't read out Mage's Mana Bracelet, but increases the skill cooldown speed by 120% for 10 seconds after you've used a skill 8 times every 8 skills that are used. That's a lot. So that 120% every so often, with the 30 from this, the 45 from this, only balanced skulls, remember that, only balanced skulls with ritual staff, and the 55 from this, that's 130% passive, with an extra 120% when this activates. So while Infinite Bone can instantly reset my cooldown when I use it, it's not mandatory. You don't have to take it if you've got this much skill cooldown already. But at the beginning of this, I was talking about using it and how clutch it often is and how useful it can be. So for the purposes of showcasing what it can do, I'm going to replace Diorite Circlet. Crazy, I know, because whenever I use Imp, I'm getting extra magic damage. It also just makes Imp hit harder because, you know, it scales on Imp. Ah, there's Mana Bone. Fantastic. Okay. I can actually showcase this build in mostly its full fashion now. Fantastic. So, I'm gonna get rid of Shade, and that's another crazy decision, but a lot of this is me showing stuff off. Now, Mana Bone is a brilliant item. It is the balance bone item. There are different bone items. There's one for speed, one for power, and this one's the balance one. Whenever you use a skill, you get this blue swirling effect around you, and the blue swirling effect does damage to enemies nearby, and it's... there we go. I have to throw my skull the other way. And it does a fair bit of damage. The brilliant part is that if you're able to spam abilities the way that Skull can, this thing stacks up very quickly and does a lot of damage in close proximity. It also does extra damage. Its damage goes up based on the number of balanced skulls that you currently have, right? The damage and the AoE increases. So we have one balanced skull because of Skull himself. So we have the 30% increase, as you can see in the brackets at the end of its description. If we pick up another balanced skull, it goes to 100%. With 2 balanced skulls, this item is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. And I would recommend that if you're doing this with Skull, grab another balanced skull, grab Mana Bone, and just carve your way through life. He's dead. What was this NPC, by the way? Ah, the priest. I didn't look at her properly. I didn't see properly. Enemies are going to be spawning. This healer dude is spawning. I'm going to pop Imp right there. That guy's attack still hit me. How dare you, sir? use Skul's Skull Toss to be a little bit cheeky. Gold Incense Burner? Nah. I'm at the point now where income isn't my main agenda. Right now, my main goal, my mango, is to get to the end of this run. I think with the items... Oh, don't throw your spear at me like that, buddy. The timing on that's a little bit... If you don't get the timing down for that, don't worry. It's I'm only just now getting used to the timing on that spear toss myself. Oh, that's an annoying room, isn't it? With the guys up above attacking us too? Yikes. Hello, big man. Can you do an attack? Can you do a simplistic attack that I can see? Thank you. There we go. It's a lot of damage. Let's get up here and bully the upstairs squad a bit, huh? Nah. We're getting out of it. Nah, buddy. Summon Imp. He's well and truly dead. You can backstep all you like, buddy. You're done. And so the build, for the most part, like I was saying, it's kind of finished. There's only very small, minor adjustments. Like, for example, getting another follow during my explanation. Thank you. For example, Imp. We can replace Imp with any of the major legendary quintessences if we got the chance to find them, but I mean, at this point we're probably not going to, and that's okay, because the skill cooldown reduction for Imp is not bad as well. You could go with something like Evil Eye, Medusa, the new Swanezio is probably the best quintessence in the game, so take that. Raven Lord, Archdemon. You can take Shadow Knights as well, because Shadow Knights is very good utility because of the shield. You can just ignore the fact that it's mostly physical damage. And look at that. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we want. I'm gonna throw my bone through that beam, because I don't want to deal with it. Sit here and spam my skills. Dash through that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. There we go. Is it dead? There we go. Now it's done. Big Mage Necklace spammies. Big spammeroo. Big power. It sucks I don't have Sylphid Wings. Sylphid Wings helps a lot here for getting around. But we'll deal. Wait for her to summon her little orb thingies. Now I'm just gonna sit here and bully her in the beginning until I see what she's... Oh, she's doing that. Yeah. I could have avoided that better, but I didn't. I didn't. I want to get rid of her before the fight becomes too annoying. Yep. Tried to delay my dash there. It's a lot slower than you think, that attack. I'm learning that. A lot slower than you think. And there, look. She didn't do a lot of the more annoying attacks, like the big beam, and her last-minute big A-game attacks, like the rotating beams around the room, the big Kamehameha blast, etc. But the idea with Skul is we need to bully people. We need to bully them now that we're powerful. We need to get revenge on all of those who've wronged us. Like St. Joan, who's a very big wall for a lot of people, I know. Understandably, Joan is an annoying fight, for sure. There we go. Get those big spammies. Get those big spammies. You throw those skulls. Throw that head. And if you're not always on top of your enemies to benefit from Mana Bone, that's okay. It happens because when your cooldown for your head toss is resetting so quickly, sometimes your vertical your vertical, I don't know, increase because the skull bounces off of them, you can end up teleporting to random places. Sometimes it feels like you teleport because if you didn't know, with this much skill cooldown, you can end up throwing multiple skulls, especially if Infinite Bone wants to be kind to me and to reset for me. I mean, you saw 2 just before, but you can end up throwing like 3, 4, 5 skulls out, and it's supposed to be... There you go, there's 2. It's supposed to be that you teleport to the most recent skull that you've thrown out. Sometimes for me it feels like I can teleport to a random one, like it's not always set in stone. But anyway, I'm rambling. In the shop, we have the option of grabbing some food, which I strongly suggest doing before the Adventurer fight, alright? Increase Quintessence cooldown speed by 40% for 2 maps. That should carry us into the Adventurer fight. It should. I don't know if two, because I know the 3 maps ones do. If this doesn't matter, so be it. Troll up here is very handy as a quintessence, but I'm comfortable with Imp. Silvered Wing showing up again. Nice to see you. Sorry, still don't need you. Because the build is pretty solid, if I do say so myself. Pretty solid build. I don't know why these guys take so long to spawn, but what you can do is preemptively get some of those fireballs spawning on the screen. Something I like to do against boss fights and certain enemy spawns. Now, this should be the second room, which means I might lose my food buff. If I lose my food buff, then forget what I said and only take food buffs if it says that they last for 3 maps or more. In fact, I can't even see my food buff down on my buff section. Oh well. It's only quintessence speed anyway. I can survive with that if I don't get the food buff. Getting the health up is the reason why we want that food mainly anyway. There we go. Alright. And thanks to some patient play, some good itemization, and Little Bone being the badass that he is, we're at full health with a small +10 shield that's not showing on us visually anymore, but whatever. And we're going to go in and take care of this adventurer fight. I'll do my best to commentate what he's doing at the time, but this fight, as you might know, can get a little bit crazy. A little bit crazy. I'm going to start with throwing out my imp immediately. You know, gotta use it. Gotta use it, or you'll lose it. And spam on him. Just spam on him. Stay airborne if you have to. Look at this. I can stay up here in the air and be a big bully. And yes, you can get hit by doing that. It's not foolproof. He does have plenty of attacks that can still reach you, but, you know, if you're looking to be very cheeky, you can do stuff like this. Dash through those orbs. I don't want to deal with them. But I'm not going to do the super cheesy route of... one more. There we go. Of sitting in the sky. But you can sit in the sky. If you have enough cooldown speed reduction, you 100% can just, like, sit in the sky and not worry about it at all. With this attack, I like to sit in the corner and just dash right before every lightning flash. Now, I need to get over this side because you can avoid that attack if you're on the opposite side of where the orb is. The orb was on his left. On the left of the screen over on this side, so I want to move to the right. There we go. Pretty clean first phase. I got bopped a bit by the big lightning attack, but, I mean, you know, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Summon Imp. Get that big upfront damage. He's summoning swords. This is a good chance to get some free spam. Alright, this attack, he's going to dash around the room, all teleporty and shit. I find that I have enough time to do a skull toss and a skull grab, and then I dash. Skull toss, skull grab, dash. He's putting stuff on the floor. Don't put stuff on the floor. He just dove out from the corner where my my imp was placed. Thank you. Thank you, hero, for being a smart man. This attack. You can cheese it if you throw your skull to the other side and teleport through it, and then jump straight into the attack like a dummy, like I just did. Oh, good RNG on that. I shouldn't be saying RNG, but that attack can be really annoying. Try and sit in between the beams, you know. A bit similar to the sisters fight, but you want to stay in between the lines. Don't touch the lines. Don't touch the lightning beams. That's my advice to you. I'm still working on the idea of putting out a guide for the hero fight, because it's not a very straightforward fight. He has a lot of attacks that he can do. For example, this humongous beam that always leaves him wounded and weakened afterwards. But he has a lot of abilities, and I apologize if not all of them were shown right there. If there's a problem attack that he does that you're not used to. But the build itself, as you can see, I still have most of my health. I have most. And I have my second life still. If you want to do it as like a skull-only run, this works. You can take a second skull, a balanced one if you want to get mana bone. You can grab just any other secondary skull like Reaper, Lich, Gambler, you know, the strong balanced ones, or any of the smaller ones, and upgrade them through. I've got 5,000 gold left, so my gold, my income served me quite well throughout the rest of the run, and as I said at the very beginning, I've ended with 10 fragments. Those are from the first 2 skulls that I broke. I did not have to interact with another skull room, or skull in general, for the rest of the run. I'm gonna destroy this and throw myself out of there. There. A long-winded run. I'm sorry for how long this was, but I know some people wanted a less edited, more direct run-through to showcase my thought process, decision-making, and the way that I play with Little Bone for getting those tougher achievements. Remember, though, for that very last fight, you want to go in as Skul, enter through the doorway to fight the hero as Skul. Don't swap. Don't swap at all. If you're nervous that you might accidentally do the swap, go into your controls and go down to where the swap binding is and change it. Make it like a button on your keyboard. If you're using keyboard controls, make it something that you're not, you know, pressing or not likely to press at all. Make it like, you know, asterisk or something. I don't know. If you're using a controller, put it on, you know, the like the pad. Put it on one of the thumbstick buttons. Put it on something you're just not going to use. If you're worried about accidentally swapping during the fight, because understandably, muscle memory, you're used to doing swaps during the fight. I get it. I get it. But that's a little tip to do the fight and not accidentally swap in. Kitty is standing in my spot where I like to stand next to the fire, but you know what? I'll share with the kitty. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope that you get your achievements. I wish you good luck. Thank you very much for watching, guys. With all of that said and done, I gotta get out of here. Hope the video was helpful. Have a good one.